Obviously, if you watch this show, you know that Hollywood enjoys ruining characters and stories that we love and that are special to us. And the next one that they have set their sights on is American Psycho, the satirical horror film from 2000 based on Patrick Bateman. And since this was announced, first off, it's being directed by Luca Guadagnino, and he is extremely pretentious and annoying. He directed Challengers, if you're unfamiliar. He is dead set on convincing you this is not actually a reboot. It's not a remake. It has nothing to do with the 2000 movie. And that's because it's based on the novel. It's a new take on the novel that the original was based on.
It just proves that everything was always adapted anyways.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
But it's like you're splitting hairs to make us realize that this is an original idea when it's not. And now the discourse has been sparked. People are fan casting who should be the next Patrick Bateman.
Yeah.
No one will ever do it the way that Christian Bale did it, obviously. You should stop trying.
You only get so many Christian Bales in a lifetime anyways, as performers.
Yeah, exactly. And Variety decided to put out a list of their frontrunners for who should play the serial killer in this movie. And half of them are white men, surprisingly. The other half are women and men of color because they want this to be the diverse Patrick Bateman.
According to Twitter, all of the people on Twitter said this is the one movie where you have to cast a white male lead because the movie itself, according to Twitter, is a critique of white male capitalism. I'm not kidding you.
We'll get into that later, but it's just funny to me that they're thinking of gender swapping Patrick Bateman, of all people, when they already did that and it failed. There was already a direct-to-video sequel for American Psycho that is also known as All American Girl, starring Mila Kunis. And it's based on an imitator of Patrick Bateman. She plays basically this woman who becomes obsessed with him and tries to imitate him. It was very negatively received by both critics and fans. It was obviously a failure. I don't know why you would try it again over 20 years later and expect a different result, but this is what Hollywood does.
Well, remember they used to make direct to DVD and direct to VHS Disney sequels. Now they're just releasing them in theaters, like Mufasa's coming out this year.
It's the definition of insanity. But here on the list, Glenn Powell was not on the list for some reason. I think he's too jolly. He's too, you know what I mean? He's too...
I think he could do it.
He has too much light in his eyes.
Watch Hitman.
But they have Jacob Elordi here, Charles Melton from Riverdale, Aubrey Plaza. They said it should come as no surprise that Hollywood's reigning Princess of Darkness would appear on this list. It would be thrilling to see Plaza's typically comedic intensity interpreted for the status-obsessed yuppie serial killer Patrick Bateman. The less explained, the better. Just give her the chainsaw.
The other part that's annoying about this is when movies like this are made and they're a critique of a time prior to when it comes out, meaning like the 80s being shown in the 2000s, in the early 2000s, that's not the same thing as showing the 80s in the 2020s.
Yeah.
Your view on the world, your views on business, on capitalism, as they're calling it a critique of capitalism. The world feels very differently about those concepts now.
And race and gender.
Race and gender
all
are
those
all
things
considered.
are going to bog down the film.
Exactly.
They also listed Margaret Qualley as another option for a gender-swapped girl boss Patrick Bateman. What if Patrick Bateman was a girl boss?
No, thank you.
That is a question I don't want the answer to. Let's not do that. But they say, given that she was in The Substance recently, playing a character with a fixation on looking perfect, she would be able to expertly apply the face mask, looking at the mirror with her intense eyes.
All these dudes are going to have to get in better shape. I don't know about Jacob Elordi, but the rest of them are not. They're not the size of a Christian Bale when he at that time.
They listed Dev Patel as well as a possible race swapped Patrick Bateman. And
do you think that that race swap is less offensive to this than the idea of a gender swap? I understand that nobody wants either of those.
Both.
No, you know what I'm saying though, right?
I'm against both in principle.
Yeah.
Both in principle. No race swaps, no gender swaps. Never.
Which one, or let me rephrase. If there was one that they could somehow manage to pull off to the rest of the general public, not us specifically, that the general public would take to more freely, which one would it be?
Wait, you mean a gender swap or a race swap? Oh, probably a race swap. Yeah, that's obviously the safer bet. But I'm against it in principle because Hollywood obviously hates white people. And they hate white men most especially. So
plenty of people that don't exactly like white men were talking about this on Twitter, talking about how they can't race swap him because this is the one role that you can't do it for when they're the bad guy.
Here's what they were saying. Dev Patel is great, but no. Bateman's entire shtick is that he's a hyper-elite white guy. Racism and bigotry are a huge part of the character. This is the one role where the actor should exclusively be white. Another one said, feels like people forget that Patrick Bateman represents a certain kind of evil, deluded dude, and whiteness is a key ingredient to creating that. I love Dev Patel, but come on. Another one said, can we not just switch Jacob Elordi and Dev Patel as Patrick Bateman? Patrick Bateman's whole shtick is getting away with shit for being white, and this is I can't. Yeah. That's not what the movie was about. They think that American Psycho was about white privilege?
Yes, that's what they think. What they don't understand is that the wealthy life that the character lived is so far removed from what the average person lives anyways that the race is less of an issue anyways.
Like, this is, I know there's a lot of people on the internet using the term media literacy.
They love
now.
that. I want to do a whole video
term.
on media literacy.
But the people who talk about media literacy the most seem to have the least media literacy. Because they think when they watch a movie from 25 years ago that it's about the racial discourse that dominates conversations in 2024.
Especially
they cannot escape their their tunnel vision social justice lens watching things from prior eras.
They love it.
If you think that if you think American Psycho was about white privilege, you're dumb. Like, that's just not, and I'm not going to say I'm like a film critic where I'm like an expert on these things, but my best guess as to what American Psycho was actually about is it was a commentary on the solipsism of Patrick Bateman's character.
And the life of the rich people who are disconnected from the world.
But I don't even think it was necessarily about like capitalism or wealth or a lot of things like that. It was, you watched his interpersonal relationships with his colleagues and his fiance, and you can see that he is wrapped up in his own little world and his own internal monologue, and it's satirizing how solipsistic and self-centered he is.
Which is interesting because now you could make that argument of even more people in the social media age.
Yeah. Another person on Twitter said the American Psycho remake should have all the characters come out at the end, face the camera, and explain that you shouldn't romanticize any of what just happened.
That's another term.
I know they're joking,
around.
But they really think that.
Yeah.
They really think that you need to be handheld through any movie that is more complex than like VeggieTales.
Well, lest you like something in a movie that they tell you not to like liking Homelander for a period of time in The Boys, and then they're like, no, but not like that.
You like it for the wrong reasons.
Exactly.
Another person said, I think you guys think that American Psycho is just about a hot guy who kills people. Well, okay, if someone watches American Psycho and they think it's just a movie about a hot guy who kills people, is that the end of the world? Like, it is about that as well as all these other things.
Just remember, guys, that the term media literacy is now used as like a weapon, where when something succeeds for the reasons they don't want it to succeed, they say or if something doesn't succeed that they want to succeed, they say you're too dumb to understand this movie. It's not that the movie was bad, it's that you were too dumb.
It's not even just that.
Joker wasn't bad. Joker was just above your level of intellect.
That pisses me off, but what's even worse is when they say you're pretending not to understand it, or you're pretending not to like it. Like, how would you even know that?
Who does that?
I'm sure some people out there might pretend to have certain opinions about movies, but
I said, but why?
I don't know why, but that's a bizarre accusation to make. It's just, I know this is going to be a disaster.
Going on Look Alone, Finn Wittrock has a face that I think could work.
Sure. I haven't seen him in anything.
Neither have I.
They say he was in American Horror Story.
He's got a face that I think could work for this.
Okay.
The rest, just no.
I've never seen him.
Just no.
He
Definitely
was
just no.
a breakout star in Luca Guadagnino's Queer.
Well, that guy, the Finn Wittrock guy?
No, the Drew Starkey guy that you just made
Will
fun
Poulter
of.
is a
Manny
great guy.
Jacinto.
Yes.
Obviously, peak masculinity in Hollywood. Manny Jacinto is the heartthrob of all Acolyte fans.
I wouldn't do Will Poulter. I guess Charles Melton has, hardened facial features. But I wouldn't.
They're just coming after every Literally Me movie. Yeah. I wish Kino Corner were here to
where
explain
is he?
that. But they're coming after every movie that white dudes liked, and they're just going to destroy it all. They get pleasure out of it. It's sick.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.